Well, hello everyone joining in. I've been not streaming consistently because I've been busy with a lot of stuff, but I am excited to get back to streaming. And I remember in the last stream, I did not share my screen correctly, so hopefully in this one, we'll not make this mistake and we'll have like a nice, super chill stream. So, let me do this. Let me share the screen so that I can walk along what is the idea for today's live stream. And yeah, let's see. And again, feel free to post the messages on the chat. Let me know where are you joining in from, and if you have any questions. It's again a super low key stream, so would love to just chat around with you all as well. So let me see if this time I do it correctly. I'm gonna pull up my screen and I'm gonna try to see if I can do. No. Oh my god, okay. This is not fun. I'm gonna try to change the layout, make it bigger. Alright, this is perfect. So let's talk about what we are planning to do on the stream. So the idea for this stream is to use the recent Workers AI model, which is, let me quickly try to find it over here. Right. Uh, Maybe I can go over here. So the idea is to basically generate speech from text using Workers AI. So Workers AI recently announced a new model, a couple of new models that have been added, which can be used to do different things. One of them is, if I remember correctly, is an embedding model. The other is like a speech to text model, or like the automatic speech recognition model. So I think it was like the turbo that got added recently. And for this one, I want to use the text to speech model. I have not used this before. So I'm going to try to use this. And the idea is to, let me go to my website, to have this articles have like an audio segment where you can click on maybe a listen button and you can listen the article instead of reading them. Now theoretically it's not gonna be fun if you do this because there's some code, some images, but let's see what we can do with the model, and hopefully we can build a fun little MVP with this. All right, so I'm gonna go again to the documentation. Now I'm using the Mellow TTS model. I think that's how it's called. I'm gonna also share the links with you so that you can check it out with me as well. So the link should be now in the chat. So this is the model that we want to use. It takes a prompt, a text description of the audio you want to generate. All right. And then we have to also specify the language, but the default is English. So let's just keep that. All right. Okay. For now, what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna directly integrate this with my website. I'm just gonna start with a new workers project. So let me open item. So over here, I have my item open and I'm gonna create a new project. So I'm running the command npm create Cloudflare latest, and we wanna call it, let's just say log audio generator. I want to use Hono. I like Hono, so I'm going to use Hono. Good developer experience, gives you a lot of things out of the box. So I'm going to go with Hono as the framework for this. Now this is going to basically set up my bootstrap my Hono project. and then I can just quickly go ahead and use it. All right, now it's installing Wrangler. Do you want to use Git for version control? Yes. Do you want to deploy your application? Maybe no for now. We can do that later. So let's go to our blog audio generator, and I want to try out Cursor because I usually use VS Code, but I have for like I started using Cursor I think yesterday. Like using it for like a side project. Found it helpful, but not something I would use to like generate my code from scratch or let it build the whole application, because I found that oftentimes I had to. Oh my god, okay. I'm just trying to change the theme. Toggle light theme. Doesn't work with cursor. What? Alright, I'm just gonna try to restart it. Yeah, so coming back to what I was saying about cursor, I think like last night I started playing with it. I found it good enough to help me with like adding features a bit quickly, but not something I would use all the time. Hey, thank you for dropping by. Hello. It's Wednesday. I am you also gonna do a live stream, right? So I'm like excited and looking forward to that. Uh, so again, I'm just gonna try to see if it does change the theme. It does not. This is weird. But I hope this is readable. I'm just gonna increase the font a bit more. All right. Now, because I am using cursor, one thing I found really helpful with this was adding the LLM's .txt file. So I'm gonna copy the URL. I'm gonna come back to cursor. How do I do it? Let's go to this. Oops. I'm gonna go to maybe rules. There was some way where I could add the docs. So not this. Wait. There was docs somewhere. Docs. Yes. I'm gonna do add new doc. I'm gonna paste in the link for LM full.txt. So basically, this contains all the context for Workers AI now, and I'm gonna uh, name it CFAI and click on confirm. So the new docs are added. So I can now go and open up the AI panel, and I can do CFAI, and it is gonna use the context from this. So let's just try it out and see what it does. So this is called MelloTTS, and we're gonna do some vibe coding. I think that's what they're calling it nowadays. We're gonna try out some vibe coding and see if actually is fun or not. So again, what we want to do is we want to use this model to convert our blog article into an audio. So let's ask AI to do that. Create an endpoint that takes in article and converts it into an audio file using the MelloTTS model. This project is using Hono, so follow Hono best practices. Now earlier today I tried using cursor, but it did not generate the output that I wanted. So I'm just gonna try it again and see if it works or not. My suspicion is because I'm like on a free tier, might have consumed I might have consumed the limits already. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. If this does not really work out, we just gonna code it by ourselves. Also, I'm still not happy with the theme. I'm gonna do it a light theme so that it's more visible on the stream. Yes, appearance. Does it have the switcher over here? Nope, I don't see that. Yeah, alright. I don't think cursor is gonna be generating anything for us today. So we'll have to do a bit of coding by ourselves. Although the good thing is that we're gonna get a lot of autocomplete from cursor, so it's gonna be pretty smooth to work with this. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want to add the AI bindings to it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, AI. And then we're going to do binding, call it AI, save this. Now, because I am using TypeScript, I need to define the types. I'm going to do this quickly using the command npm run cf type gen. It's going to generate the types for me. And that's it. All right. You can close the terminal now. Go back to our index.ts file. And over here, we can get on with our project. So I'm trying to define the architecture of this. I don't know how do I do it. It can be a simple post endpoint, but then how do I integrate it with? Well, I'm just gonna do a post endpoint for now. Call it /API/audio. Okay. Fine enough, but not exactly what I wanted. So I'm just gonna remove this and do const response equals. Oh wait, thank you cursor. Again, not exactly what I want. I want the model name. I'm gonna get it from the docs, paste it in here. Not sure why do I get the type errors. c.env.ai.run with the model and then this. We're just gonna test it out. We're gonna see if it works or not, and if it throws an error. Now, before we test it out, just gonna walk through the code and try to explain what is happening over here. So we now have a post endpoint which is /API/audio. So a user would basically send a prompt to this post endpoint. We get that and we pass it on to our AI, Workers AI. And in Workers AI, we are passing the model we want to use. Again, this is Mellow TTS. And then we're gonna also send it the prompt. And we later on just return the response. But I am a bit skeptical if this is the correct response, because the output is an MP3 format. So the output is basically an MP3 file, which is base64 encoded. And this is something that I don't really like when I work with base64 encoding. I'm gonna try to see if cursor can somehow help me here. Just going to stop. Instead of agent, I'm going to try to ask Uh, I am using the model from Workers AI. All right, this is what we are doing. Uh, can you help with what do we want to do? Can you help with returning the audio file to the user? Please work, otherwise it's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna work. All right, just gonna log the response to see what I get, and based on that, I'm gonna move forward. I probably think if I want to use cursor mode, I need to get a paid subscription. But never mind. Let's test this out at least, and then we can see what output we get. So we now have the server running on localhost 8787. I don't know if I have that. Let's see. Okay, awesome. I have Postman. Show Postman. It's asking me to sign in. I don't want to do that. This is where the extensions are. I like it. Now, I don't want to do Postman over here by myself, so I'm gonna try to maybe use something else. I don't want to log into Postman. Let's see if I have. Let's do this. Insomnia. Oh no, it's hopscotch. If you folks don't know, hopscotch is an open source alternative for Postman. I use it quite often when I'm testing APIs. Recently, I have learned about a better approach to do this using how do you call it? Maybe a tool. A tool. It's going to call it a tool. Please don't come at me, but I'm going to show you as well. It's called Fiber Plane. It gives you API playground for Hono. I've done a talk with Nile, who is in the chat, and that's where I learned more about Fiber Plane. It's pretty sick to use this. You know what? I'm just gonna configure this. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna configure this. I'm gonna follow the documentation. I'm gonna add Fiber Plane over here. Import the required methods, and let's see. Then copy these two lines. Now let's close this. I'm gonna quickly share what the code does. So we are using the create open API spec. So this is gonna basically wrap our API and gonna create an open API spec. But as you can see, we are not defining any API spec, or we're basically not documenting our API. It's generally not gonna give us like a good documentation, which is fine for this application. But if you are, building an API, having an open API spec really helps your not just you, but your teammates as well, or anyone who is using that API. So I highly recommend doing that. Another way that I was told you can do this is using Zod. So Fiberplane also has, I think, how do you call it? A method available out of the box. If you're using Zod, Let's see. Yeah. So if you're using Zod Open API, Hono, you can just use that out of the box. Pretty fun, pretty slick to use. Again, this is like a chill app, so I'm gonna skip that. Now, once you have the Open API spec endpoint, we are using the Fiber Planes middleware to mount our playground on the FP endpoint, and it is gonna use the uh, OpenAPI URL. It's gonna save this. I'm gonna start the app again. The worker runtime failed to start additional. Oh, okay. There is some error that I don't know why. Uh, hmm. Do I have to include? No. So because I got an error on that, I'm just gonna do compatibility flags, Node.js compact, save it, restarts the server. I'm gonna restart it manually just to make sure that we have everything working now. Interesting. Okay, so uh, because it uses a package called Node Async Hook, if I'm not wrong. Where was it? Yeah, Node Async Hooks. You need to make sure that you have the node compatibility flag added in here, which is going to tell your workers that you need to that it needs this package. It's coming in from node as well. And just now saw your message, Craig. Thank you so much. Yes, that is what helps what helped solve the error. So now that I have hopefully things running, I'm gonna go to localhost and go to the FP endpoint. Should load the playground. It's here. I have the audio endpoint over here. In the body, I need to pass a prompt. Just gonna do a small one. Hello, this is AI, and I'm gonna make a request. Now, if you're using Workers AI in a new project, or if you are using Workers AI, like after I think a couple of days or something, you might be shown this prompt to log into your account. I have multiple Cloudflare accounts. I'm gonna select one. It's gonna now tie this project to my employee account, so that if I'm, it's gonna basically use the limits from that account. Alright, so it gives a base 64 file, as we can see over here. I'm gonna why cursor chat is not working for me, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna try to do something more traditional. I'm just gonna ask Claude to do it for me. Just gonna try to find my message from here. Stop this, come back to Claude, where it did not copy the correct thing. Let's try it again. Okay. Can you help with it returns, and let's be specific, mp3 file with page 64 and coding. Can you help written the audio? I should have probably told this to use. Uh, I think Hono and told it like I'm using Workers AI. Okay, it's doing a lot of things, which is good. Okay, wait, what it did? It helps you return the audio model, so you can here's how to handle it. A simple implement focus just on playing the written audio. Here's a minimal example. All right. I do want to implement HTML file, but I'm gonna do that a bit later on. I nice. Okay. Okay, so this is what I am thinking. I'll also have to store these audio files somewhere. So I'm gonna use R to store that, and I can then have a get endpoint which can list the audio files, and then I can play them. Should be fun. Should be fun. Now, okay. All right, I like this idea, so I'm gonna go ahead and maybe create a simple HTML page. This is what it has over here. This is like the full-fledged application that I don't really want. I want it to just generate the audio and give me the code for it. Or just give me the player. That would be better as well. It does not have the code for the audio player, or does it? As an audio container. So probably it should have, okay, create an audio player. It's here. I don't want to download it, so I'm not going to do it. But this is a good starting point. And I see Fennel joining in. Hey Fennel, long time. How are you? Thank you for joining the stream. How have you been? How's life in Bangalore? I'm assuming you're still in Bangalore. It's been long. All right, let's do this. Public index.html. So the idea now is to have an index, an HTML file, basically that we're gonna serve it from the root of this project. So let's add the static asset bindings for this. We're gonna specify the directory, and that is public. I feel like after we released static assets, I have been just building more applications using static assets because I like the idea of having my front end and the back end at a single place, and it also, I feel like the developer experience is better, and I can also easily make API do the API communications from the front end to the back end. All right, coming back to this, I'm just gonna copy the whole thing, and I'm then gonna start eliminating the stuff that I don't want. All right, let's close this. We don't want that. Definitely don't want this. I mean, this is a good thing to have, but I already have a post endpoint. And right now, all I want to do is just generate the audio for my file. Or sorry, play the audio that is already generated. But I'm kind of conflicted if I should use this or if I should not. I'm gonna keep this as is. The input voice, I don't think we can modify that. Let's go ahead and check the docs for it, because I think there was one, yeah, there was a text description parameter that basically is a prompt, and then there is a language parameter. So I don't think it can specify the voice. That would be something interesting to dive into later. Uh, Fine, it can have the error. Now over here, we're taking a couple of things. We don't want the API key and the audio ID. So let's just remove them. Generate butter player download button is not needed. Voice options is not needed as well. So because we don't have voice selection, we don't really need this. The final says that he is still in Bangalore and life is fun. That's good to know. You back to streaming. I have been doing like low key chill streams here and there, because I realized I build a lot of stuff, and I do, turn it into tutorials or some kind of content. So I thought, why not just build those tutorials on the live stream with you all, and yeah, have some fun. So that's the idea basically of these live streams. As you can see, they are like super chill. I try to build stuff most of the sometimes I am able to complete a project, sometimes I'm not, but it's more chill, and I do it kind of inch like on an impromptu basis. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I had like a couple of stuff going on yesterday. So I was like, all right, let's schedule a time for today to do it, and that's how I'm basically doing live streams right now. Okay, so this is now calling the API with the text. That's what we want for now. All right, it sets it to create audio player. We'll use the 64 encoding. So the download button, I don't want that. Generate button, generate text content. All right, download is not needed. Remove this. That is function to generate TTS audio. All right, I already have an endpoint. This is not what we need, so we're gonna call it a prompt. We don't need this all from here, I guess. By doing the method, I want to make it a post request. I don't really want to pass the header, that's fine. And we have it at the endpoint slash API slash audio. Was that it? Yeah. All right, if this is not, I'm gonna go to the API playground and see it returns an audio. All right, so this should be data dot audio and should be good, I guess. Let's see. I'm gonna clear the previous audio and add the new one. All right, show the audio container. Again, we don't want to do anything with the download, so we're gonna remove that. Hide error, it's fine. Right. So this should work now. I have everything, I think, in place. Let's see. All right, this looks good. click on generate audio, which would have made a request to our API audio endpoint, but I don't think it did. Interesting. Let's check the logs. Yay, text input is not defined. Did I delete stuff which was needed? Let's see. This was line 151. I see what happened. So I don't have, I'm not referencing, I'm basically not referencing the text area from here. Let's see if I can quickly grab the code for this. Yeah, this is text input. And I'm gonna paste it in here. Save it. Hopefully now this should work. So I'm gonna copy this, leave the console open, paste it, and generate audio. It says it's generating, and it did something. Now you're gonna hear this. Ooh, Nili says that I should do more again. Yes, definitely. I want to do it more, keep on doing this more often, but I'm, yeah, trying not to, be tied to it and make it a thing. Just gonna do it whenever I feel like it, whenever I have something, fun to try out, and yeah, just do it on the live stream. I'm gonna stop playing the music and try to play this.
Hello, this is AI. How can I assist you?
I love this. I don't know if it was audible to you all, but I could hear it. But let me know if it's not audible to you. I'm going to try to figure that out. But yeah, this is,
Hello, this is AI. How can I assist you?
I like it. This gives me the result that I wanted. Now the question is, how do I hook it up to my blog? Huh. Now, how do I hook it up to my blog? I can individually create this, but I don't want to do it. That's like not a fun idea. I'm thinking like two different ways right now. Uh, One would be just keep on building this app, right? Have use browser rendering, the browser rendering API, and actually that would be more fun. I think I'm gonna do that. Okay, so sorry, coming, yeah, finishing my thoughts over here. So I'm gonna use the browser rendering API, and instead of just a text box, where was this? Over here, you now pass on the URL or the blog's endpoint. With the browser rendering API, we fetch the content, and then we pass that content to AI, and then convert it into an audio file and then return it for the user. That is an idea I like because I have not played with uh, the browser rendering API, so that's gonna be fun. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this now. I'm gonna take that approach and see if it works. And okay, Neil says that the audio was audible, which is great. So this is working fantastic. All right, before I jump into adding the browser API, let's go ahead and add it to GitHub so that it stays with us even after the stream. And I know I sometimes just forget to push code on GitHub. Uh, let's see what we were calling it from here. I'm just going to copy paste the name. Looks good. I don't know if it pasted the right thing. It did. Okay, it did. Okay. So not sure why it gave that error. Now let's do get push remote. This is gonna run into an error, yes. Alright, so now the repo is up. If folks wanna try, they can try it out. I still haven't added R2 yet, but the end goal would be to add R2 to it. And this is what also I'm going to do. I'm going to deploy it as well. So the link to the GitHub repo is now in the chat. And I'm also going to deploy it for folks to try out. I'm always a bit scared when deploying applications, especially when they're using generative AI. Please be kind to it. I'll probably add a AI gateway so that it does not get abused. But here's the deployed version that you can play around with. So I'm going to open the deployed version as well. Should make a call to Workers AI. This was like instant, and I love it.
This audio is generated by AI. How cool is that?
Perfect. So you can play around with this for now. And yeah, let me know what you feel about it. Because again, we're gonna try to build on top of it. And for that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably do okay a new branch. Uh, I'm just gonna call it URL because now instead of text, we wanna get the URL. Now, before I make changes to that, the UI, I want to actually start plugging in uh, the browser rendering API. So let's go back to our docs, view our products, browser rendering. I'm going to use the workers binding deploy browser rendering work. I can do it with durable objects as well, but I cannot use with the worker maybe. Yeah, let's do that. I need to install Puppeteer, yes. I was at a conference recently and I kind of jokingly said that, as a developer, we copy paste the code a lot. And if I am now thinking about it, it feels like that's kind of a truth because I'm just kind of copy pasting a lot of these commands and code also from the AI. But I also feel that this is changing a bit. We using AI to do a lot of our work. Instead of just copy pasting, it's more of fixing the code that is generated by AI. All right, so we need to now also add the binding for this. So let's go ahead, come in here. Ah, I see what I did there. It should be the JSON G and not that. And I'm gonna again run the cf type gen command. It's gonna generate the types. And now this is what we want. So we want to import. Okay, we want to import this and come back over here. Let's see. Uh, uh, uh. I think we would be able to sort of finish this app. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, now instead of the prompt, we want to pass on the URL. I love how cursor is giving me all the yeah, all the expected or the yeah, all the expected code. But hold on, that's not exactly what we want. So if there is a URL, okay, it should. But I'm not gonna do any validation for now. I am gonna skip the validation. Let's see. Ooh, I like the idea. It basically takes a screenshot of the page and stores it. Nice. But again, we don't want to do that. So let's come back over here. Mm, we have the URL. We want to launch Puppeteer. But before that, we should normalize the URL. Close this. Okay. God. Normalized URL is this. Gonna for now comment this out. Next, what we want to do is open up the browser, open up the page, open up a new browser page, go to that URL and then do something with it. All right, so let's paste this. We want the browser to open up a new tab, go to that page, but after that, we wanted to do something else. Now, instead of screenshot, we wanted to do generate PDF. Ooh, nice. So there is a can open this, but there is an example with AI what it does. Oh, this is interesting. So it uses browser rendering to go to a website, extract the post, get website text. So this is what it. This is what I needed. Perfect. Uh, I love how I'm like picking up codes from different pages from the documentation and just using them. All right. So we want this. So I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna come back in here, paste it, But instead of the body, I know I have, I think, the, how do you call it, the article tag. So if I inspect this, we have main, div, and article. And within the article, I have the whole article. So let's go ahead and do that. Instead of body, let's just say article. Instead of rendered text, I'm gonna call it prompt. We close the browser. We pass this prompt, and then it should work. Okay, we have a tiny error. It's good. Wait, it should be normalized URL. So I'm gonna update it here. Alright, now let's see if it works. It did not. Browser rendering is not supported locally. Okay, it's not supported locally, so we're gonna use the remote flag. So this is what I need to do. I can either do npx wrangler. Let's do that. Npx wrangler dev dash remote. Earlier, the way to do this was open up my package.json file and just add the remote flag over here. All right, so we have this up and running. We're gonna refresh this, and I'm gonna copy the URL, paste it here, and click on generate audio. There is an error, that's fine. It says it's like an invalid URL string, which is interesting. Ah, all right, all right. I think I know the problem over here. So we were passing on prompt instead of prompt, it should be URL, and now this should work. Refresh this. All right. Paste the URL. Now behind the scenes, it is opening up this URL in a browser, going searching for the article tab, getting the content of the article tab, and then passing it on to the AI model to generate the audio. This is a bigger file, so it might take a bit more time than like the few, like just a single line that we had. But this was still faster than I expected it to be. Let's try it out.
This blog was originally shared on Tolji.io. In today's global market, making your web application accessible to a diverse audience is crucial. Localization enables apps to adapt, changing the language. In the next step, you will add a language switcher for your application. Step 8, adding a language switcher, irrespective of where the user is based, you should give the user.
All right, I love this. I love this. Like, I I love how I can just pass in on a URL. It takes the content of that URL and generates an audio file for that. And this was kind of fun to build and like fast to build as well. I wasn't sure would be able to like get this much done in such a short time. Like in an hour, I like have essentially a whole full-fledged application running now. I'm thinking out kind of loud over here. What if we have the index route where you can put in the text, it generates the audio, something that we saw earlier. We have a URL route where it does this. So now instead of taking the prompt or like the text, it takes the URL. As a user, you can also pass on where exactly the content is. So for me, I know my in my blog article, I in my blogs I usually have things in the uh, under the article tag, but I'm not sure everyone follows that. So just trying to think of like a blog website that I could think of. I don't know. I cannot think of anything right now. Yeah, but if they don't have it, right, they have like their content directly in the main tag or maybe under a section tag or just a div. They should be able to specify it as like a query selector. So this can be also dynamic, and then it does this. It does the browser rendering thing. Right, open up the page, gets it content from that particular tag, returns it to our AI model, which then converts it into an audio file. And then, as the end user, you can just download that audio file as well. I like this idea. I'm also thinking if there can be also. I'm just. I'm sorry. Just once I have an idea, just keep on adding more features to it. But this feature is also pretty cool. So you can have configuration or like text box or input fields for putting in your R2 credentials. Like basically, those credentials should have like a write permission, and there would be a button where it just says upload to R2, and then that audio file gets uploaded to R2. This is pretty sleek. I like this. So what I'm gonna do now is I feel this looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna close the app for now. I am not going to merge both the branches. I'm gonna keep them separate. All right, so we now have this bunch of code running on the URL branch, and I'm happy. Like I was looking to do something in an hour, and we were able to build this whole thing in an hour. With a lot of copy pasting of code, going through the documentation as well, and using the new model, which is pretty cool. And I've never used the browser rendering API, so using it as this in the project was also really fun. I think I'm gonna, yeah, think more about how I can use browser rendering and maybe build a fun more demos out of it. But if you have any ideas on how we can improve this, again, the GitHub code is already in the chat. I'll try to add it to the YouTube description so that you can check it out if you're looking at this later on. And if you want to contribute to it, feel free to do that. If you want to use it, just feel free to clone it. If you find any bugs or if you have any more recommendations or suggestions, you can always open up an issue or just hit me up on Twitter or blue sky or wherever you are, you can go to my website hoshi.dev, go to slash links it is. Go to slash links and just find me, whichever place you are, whichever place you are hanging, and just drop me a message. I'm going to try to quickly summarize what we did in this hour. So we started off with a simple Hono project. The whole idea was to use the new Workers AI model, which is called Mellow TTS. Where is the docs? I've kind of lost it. So let's try to open it again. Yeah. So you use Mellow TTS to convert blog articles into audio files so that if someone just wants to listen to it, they can hit on a play button and it starts playing it. So for this, we created an Hono app. We started pretty simple. We first had a post endpoint where you could pass on the prompt and it would generate the audio file for you. Now, going to the docs, we learned that it generates the audio, but it returns the audio in like a base 64 encoding, which you cannot really play in the browser. So you need to do some kind of a little bit of conversion, not really, but if you want to play it on the browser, you need to tell your browser that, hey, this is an audio file and it should handle it as an audio file. While we were building this, we realized we don't have a good way to test the post endpoint. So we added the fiber plane middleware, which gives us an amazing playground. We tested it on the playground. It worked fine. We then, using Claude, created how do you call it? Created a UI. Claude went a step ahead, gave us a lot of punch. We did not really needed those things. Let me show you real quick. We did not really needed this, so we removed the things we didn't need, and we ended up with something like this. Now, from the UI, we make a call to our endpoint, which is again slash API slash audio. We click on generate audio, makes a call, generates the audio, and returns it over here. Now we can play it over here.
This audio is generated by AI. How cool is that?
And it generated the audio like quite instantly, and you can play it in the browser now. So this worked pretty well. We took it a step further. We thought, hey, this is good, but if I really want to use it for my blog, it would not be able to copy the whole content, put it in here, and then click on generate audio. So what can be a better approach? We came up with a simple solution. So instead of passing on the text, why not pass the URL? So we were then passing the URL, but there is a problem. We cannot still get the content from that URL, and for that we ended up using browser rendering. Again, I'm still amazed how easy it was to use browser rendering. So what browser rendering does is now it takes on that URL, it launches an instance of a browser, it opens up that URL on a new tab. I'm going to call it a tab. And then we tell it, hey, get all the content from the article tag, and then just return the text. So it gets all the content from the article tab and returns the text. We use this text as a prompt and now pass it to the AI. So now instead of passing the content ourselves, most of this is taken care for us. So we don't really have to worry about uh, copying and pasting stuff. Once we had this, the only thing was to I don't think there was anything else to do. Once we had this, it was quite straightforward. We just, yeah, there was one other thing. We had to update the body that we were passing, because earlier it was prompt that we were passing, but now it is URL. So we updated to URL. And yeah, that's it. Pretty fun to build. Again, the GitHub link is somewhere in the chat. I'm gonna post it on the socials, and as well as like try to add it on the YouTube description. So if you want to play around with it later on, feel free to do that. If you have more ideas and want to build on top of it, feel free to clone the project or submit a PR. I'm always happy to improve the project. And with this, thank you all for joining in. I hope it was fun for you as well. It was really fun for me. But yeah, and I'll try to do it more often as I was suggested by Nele. So I'll try to do it more often. But let's see. So if you're not following me on social so that you get a ping whenever I am going online. Right. Thank you all and have a nice one.